Good afternoon, everybody. Very happy to be here. I have the pleasure to present today together with Lubov, our beloved partner at Colgate. She will share a bit of information on her thinking today and perspective as a client side. Allow me to also introduce myself. My name is Joris, partner at EyeSee, and very proud to be one of the nominees by Quirk for our global protocol with Microsoft on e-commerce, our advertising research with Twitter, that was last year, and we have a couple of new goodies that are coming up for the upcoming awards. Today, our company is focusing on behavioral insights. That means that we combine behavioral methodologies with conventional methodologies. Mainly been working for CPG, but also for a couple of tech clients, as mentioned before. And we have offices from North America, Mexico, to Europe and Singapore. In the first semester, our team has focused on how to nail the messaging for COVID-19. And in essence, what we started this year is some purpose-driven kind of work that we want to run internally. If you're interested in this particular topic, feel free to navigate towards our website and download the information there, or to listen to one of the webinars that we have hosted. For today, our session is focused on how to make sustainable products mainstream. And very happy to be nominated for the nonprofit project for Quirks this year. Let's dig into it. The key challenge that the EyeSee team saw in front of us is that a lot of consumers wish to learn more about plastic pollution and sustainable products. However, we do need to adjust the communication to actually reach those consumers. And eventually what our main goal would be is to make those sustainable options mainstream. We have done some thinking there, and we do believe that we need to expand the narrative. So sustainability is essentially more than just packaging. It is, as mentioned before, about communications. So that means how to advertise, what claims to use, and above and beyond the supply chain. So today we will be focusing a bit on who your consumers are and how they actually relate to sustainability as a topic. Who here in the room has seen this particular picture? Does anybody know where this is? You got a hint at the right bottom already, Mr. Bjerg Ingels. So he's Danish. Yeah, somebody knows? No? This is a power plant, but not just a regular power plant. It is a power plant with a ski slope, with a free climbing wall. So it is actually a pretty interesting kind of concept. And what actually Mr. Ingels has developed is a framework that focuses on sustainability. But what he says is that there is a misconception about sustainability. It's not about sacrificing quality of life. No, it is actually about optimizing it in a more design kind of thinking. And in his thoughts, it's a concept that he calls hedonistic sustainability. We need to create a design that is fun and vibrant and that can improve the quality of individuals. So think about a power plant with a ski slope on top. What does it mean for our thinking today? Well, it means that we can tackle sustainability from a design holistic kind of view. Let's focus a little bit on what is the role of sustainability today at Colgate. Over to Lubov.
Thank you, Joris, for a great question, and thank you, Quirk's team, for organizing such a great event and possibility to join remotely. So the question was, what is the role of sustainability today? Environmental and social challenges dominate the news. COVID-19 may have pushed the topic of sustainability off the top of the news agenda in 2020, but its importance in terms of the global population only continues to grow. According to Kantar's barometer, for 73% of people globally, environmental issues remain important or became even more critical than ever. The number of households that are the most environmentally conscious rose significantly. Globally, this group now represents 22% of consumers that are worth $446 billion to the FMCG industry. based on the Kantar assessment of 2021. I started working with the EyeSee team in 2018, and I'm very proud of the team for showing tremendous progress in such a short period of time by moving from data provider to creatively inspired global business transformation consultancy business partners by placing humans at the center and leveraging high-end technology. As you can see today, EyeSee not only provides expertise for packaging development by expanding their services, answering broader questions related to brand positioning innovation, as well as elevates conversation related to important social questions. Our organization can help to find an answer.
Thank you, Lubov, for sharing your perspective on this. EyeSee has been focusing this semester on building a framework to, first of all, understand your consumers. Secondly, to inspire them with emotions. Of course, that has to do with the communications and the advertising. Thirdly, thinking about how to clarify the impact. That has to do rather with claims. And last but not least, how to think big about the challenge. So to be ambitious. Let's dig a bit deeper into understanding the consumers. So before we go into the details, I want to share a little bit about the methodology. We have been running our internal study in the US with about 1,200 respondents. And what did we do? We have created 6 different cells. One cell with a scientific page post, a second one with a mass media post, a third cell with a celebrity spokesperson, a fourth one with an NGO campaign, and then we have cross-tested that against 2 control cells with different sources. We covered 4 different categories, from energy bars to body wash, toothpaste and toothbrushes, and leveraged, of course, our behavioral methodologies. Eye tracking on the Facebook timeline to understand attention and visibility, facial coding on the Facebook timeline to understand the emotional engagement, virtual shopping with those interactive shelves to understand purchase intent, and then more classical techniques like a max diff for the claim testing and a survey, of course. Understanding the consumers. What we have learned is that there are 3 important segments. The first one are true eco-buyers. So these are typically a bit younger than 40. Typically they are female, and they're on a higher level of education and personal income. These are folks that are very much influenced by anti-pollution posts on socials. They absolutely care about the design and the attractiveness of eco-products overall. Secondly, there is a group that says they care, but they need an incentive to join. Typically, they're a bit older, so 40 plus, and what they state is that price and availability are some top concerns for them to buy into sustainable products. What we have learned is that they prefer sustainable products by famous brands. We'll get back to that. Then there's a third segment that is not really engaged. So we call them the uninterested ones. They're not really aware, or they do not care too much about pollution or sustainability, and it seems that there are no particular incentives to bring them along. We have seen that 88% of shoppers believe that the pollution of air, water, and soil is one of the most relevant threats to preserve our environment. However, there's a big however. There is only 34% of shoppers that actually think that they personally can contribute to solve this problem. Last but not least, we found that 46% of folks who are interested would purchase eco-friendly products if they would be at the same price as regular products. So of course, price has a big role to play. On this particular slide, you see the top 3 incentives for buying more eco-friendly products. I, as a market research nerd, am obviously very much interested in what are the barriers. And as mentioned before, number 1 would be the high price. There is also a level of unavailability, and then a lack of variety, of course. But what's key for us to keep in mind is to obviously have competitive prices. The willingness to pay more is not there for 80% of the shoppers. Question for you, Lubov. How do you think about consumer segments when it comes to sustainable products?
The core segment of highly involved in sustainability topic people will be growing in the next 20 years and are set to represent half the population by the end of the decade. So we need to focus on this segment in our activities. The middle segment requires extra triggers, as I said before, to join the movement, so especially big companies need to take a lead to provide these people with more environmentally friendly options at affordable prices that are widely available. These efforts are important to make not only to gain a competitive advantage, but because we have the power to do so. I believe that the brands needs to be extension of people's value, people they target with their offers. For that reason, brands need to choose the relevant topic for their business and make an action, not necessarily heavily invest to make a difference, more to create avenues for others to contribute, create forces by uniting people together, partnering with other organizations. In my opinion, it should not be treated as a competitive advantage, it should be considered as a necessity, because what will happen if we don't do anything today? We're responsible for the world would be left to the next generation. When it comes to the communication, I think it's important to keep transparency with your customers and showcase the progress and outline plans and achievements.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lubov. Thank you for sharing. Now, when we look at a couple of good practice examples, there is on the one hand, of course, the role of producers. For example, Colgate has launched these bamboo charcoal toothbrushes at a very competitive price. On the other hand, you have the availability, right? And if we look at Walmart in the US, they managed for their private label tea to make all of these tea certified and sustainable. So both on the producer side and the retailer side, there can be work done on both price and availability. Alrighty, let's go into the second part of our study. And that has all to do with inspiring with emotions. When looking into emotions, we have learned that negative emotions, for example, sadness or disgust, do not necessarily drive an action. Secondly, when we talk about credible sources, they have a very strong possibility of generating impact. Thirdly, if we look into celebrities and NGO posts, they have a different role to play. They can leverage the emotional reach and essentially attract awareness. Have a look at the combination of these methodologies. On the left-hand side, you see our output of virtual shopping. Different set of cells from scientific to mass media to celebrity to the control cells. And then you see actually the interest level and the purchase from the shelf. We notice some significant differences for the scientific cell, essentially driving more purchase intent with the toothbrush echo. Now, you see that on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we notice a couple of different things. From our facial coding results, we noticed that celebrities managed to significantly spike the interest, but also that they drive a lot of positive emotions. Their total emotional reach, ER, is 15%. Whereas NGO posts, second best performance in terms of emotional reach, have a bit lower interest and a bit lower level of positive emotions, PE. The negative emotions seem to be a bit stronger there, 5%. Scientific posts do not really trigger too highly the emotional reach, but it does seem, if we look at the virtual shopping on the left-hand side, that they trigger the purchase. In our study, we covered a whole set of posts who were, to be clear, not advertisements. And on the left-hand side, you see an example of a post that was driving 29% of emotional reach without any negative emotions. Second post here on the table, you see a reach of 24%. However, it has a combination of 12% negative emotions and 12% positive, being interest. Emotions do not always translate into actions. So we shall think about how to create an effective communication funnel. First, Through powerful visuals and celebrity ambassadors, we can create awareness at the beginning of our funnel. We shall be sure that those spokespersons are credible, that they demonstrate the expertise. For example, next level can be using some scientific posts. And then, of course, we need to be honest so it is in line with our brand. Last but not least, ideally, our posts can be leaving a positive feeling so that they reinforce the action. Let's go to our third step, clarifying the impact and focusing on claims. Through our research, we have learned that product claims are the best area to describe your impact. Now, it's important to be very clear on those claims. Essentially, how are you contributing to solve a specific problem? We shall avoid being too vague and writing, for example, just sustainable. Last but not least, longer copy and overused phrases like eco-friendly don't do the job. Allow me to sketch a little bit of information on the following graph. On the x-axis, we focus on clarity of the claim. On the y-axis, we focus on the impactfulness of the product specifically. That allows us to have a 2x2 matrix. On the one hand side, at the left top quadrant, unclear versus impactful. Right top, clear and impactful. Right bottom, clear but not impactful. And then the weakest box, unclear and not impactful at the left bottom. Let's do a small quiz. How do you feel about 100% recyclable? What do you think? Yeah, very clear and impactful. How about small or less plastic used? Lower on impact. How about zero waste? Yep, in the unclear and not impactful box. Let's have a look at a couple of examples that are publicly available. On the left-hand side, we see a full integrated proposition of Colgate, where they managed to build a smile in the logo, completely integrated. They use green and brown colors to emphasize the carton. They explicitly state smile for good. They demystified the ingredients and they used very smart icons to actually reinforce those ingredients. On the other hand, you have more of an add-on in terms of recycling. So the L'Oreal Man Expert is a bottle as it is, but it has an extra add-on claim in the 100% recycled plastic. So 2 different strategies on how to communicate. Okay, folks, let's go to the last step. Think about a big impact. How do we raise this big challenge? Well, 27% of the shoppers would buy more eco products if they were from a well-known brand. So that means that bigger brands can have a bigger impact, can actually drive the change. At EyeSee, we believe that brands can hence be very brave and bold, and that sometimes you can dare to reinvent entire categories. When we look at some examples on the market, there is the famous Haagen-Dazs aluminum box that not only makes the packaging more sustainable, it also drives the consumer experience. Why is that? Well, the metal box will drive the heat towards the top when you open the box. So that means that at the top, the ice cream will be melting, whereas at the bottom, things remain cold. So from a sensory experience, this will be exquisite. On the other hand, you have a whole range of P&G products that have been working on how to reinvent themselves, being it on how to open it, how to subscribe, whatnot. All right, Lubov, over to you again. Tell us a bit more about your product innovation process and how it has changed having sustainability in mind.
I'm a big fan of Jeremy Gucci, the CEO and founder of Trend Hunter, who recently published book Exploding Chaos. The approach he is advertising we also applied in many project lives in a very easy formula. First of all, apply open source leadership in gathering new ideas, looking at the problem from a completely unique angle by partnering with new vendors and bringing new talents. Secondly, keep the people in the center of innovation process and prototype with people. Do not ask people what they want because they don't know. In opposite, propose solution, listen to the feedback, adopt the innovation and repeat the process again. Finally, communicate about your innovation to the right people using the right touch points. So it will not change actually. So the same creative approach we apply for many projects, especially for developing sustainable products. So we have developed the first Colgate recyclable tube and launched Smile for Good toothpaste last year. We have embraced transparency. The product was also certified with the EcoCert and Vegan Association. The idea was prototyped with people and experts. We didn't ask people what they want. We checked with them our hypotheses and made them the part of our creative process. This was the time we used only agile tools. This is one of the examples we allowed ourselves to break the internal protocols and processes and go really fast by bringing all stakeholders together and talents to the table from early beginning. It was operating in a startup mode with full commitment and readiness to fail fast. The product was developed and hit the market in 6 months. This brand influenced Colgate brand perception as a brand that is taking care about the planet. We unlocked growth by being people-centric. And this is the secret formula lies in all prototypes I was the part of.
Very insightful, Lubov. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, let's briefly wrap up. At EyeSee, we believe in hedonistic sustainability. That means that we shall focus on how to improve the consumer experience. 4 steps to realize that. Understand your consumers. Inspire them with emotions, ideally positive ones. Clarify the impact with the right claims. And then be bold and think big about change. What's next for us? What's next for you? Well, we need to move sustainability from a hot buzzword topic to a must-do for both businesses and consumers. Sustainability should absolutely be affordable for everyone. And last but not least, we should be thinking about it as a lifelong work. So it's a journey for us to make the world a greener place. Thank you so much for attending our webinar. Looking forward to engage with you on different questions and different thoughts on sustainability and learn more. Thank you.